Back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show, and joining us now is the bee man, Cristina
Man.
the honey man. But that is like your name, so.
Well, my name is Cristina Mann, and I'm a beekeeper, and I started the Eddy County Beekeeping Club specifically for the purpose of raising good European bees, because killer bees are here in Eddy County and Lee County, and yeah, they're all over Southwest New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, and they have expanded to Louisiana and Georgia recently.
Oh, my goodness.
And they are all the way up to California. They expanded through the Central Valley to Redding. Basically, they'll be wherever it doesn't snow too hard, and they can survive.
And what's the how did they get the name killer bees? What is it about these bees compared to, say, your average everyday bee that we see?
Well, the average everyday bee, you're talking about a European honey bee. They've been domestically bred basically since the beginning of time. There were honeybees on the Ark, on Noah's Ark. Anyway, African killer bees came to be when some researcher seeking to breed a more productive bee took 26 queens from Africa to Brazil in 1956. And he was seeking to, get more honey, because Africanized bees in a tropical climate are vastly more productive than European honeybees. But in the early 70s, there was a hurricane, and the enclosure that they were in was destroyed, and they escaped.
Mm-hmm.
And they gradually moved up through. They first came to the United States in Texas and Arizona.
Okay.
And they came to Carlsbad in 1992. The first attack was on Leo Salcido. He still lives here on Howard Street, and he nearly died. Spent 2 days in the hospital. He had a European beehive that was in his back fence, and they had been usurped by the Africanized bees, and he was mowing his lawn, and he was covered immediately. His relatives, his daughter, they did the right thing, and they sprayed him down with a hose, and they covered his head. But when the Africans attack, one bee commits suicide. It inserts its stinger into the skin, and stingers are barbed, so they pull out their whole abdomen and they die. But they release a fear and attack pheromone.
Okay.
And instead of one or two bees investigating it, if they're killer bees, there'll be 20 to 100 zoning in on the same spot where you've been stung. And when I'm removing an Africanized hive or a beekeeper, they will emit this pheromone, and it really gets to your fear center in your brain. And I've done it so many times. I've done it more than 100 times, so I can control it. But when they attack, it's an all-out thing. And if you die from it, chances are they affect your breathing.
Gotcha.
They cover your veil so thickly Woods Houghton talked about going to Arizona at the beginning of the Africanized bee invasion, and he and some others were investigating this colony of Africanized bee. And if a friend of his hadn't been there with a leaf blower blowing them off their faces, off their head nets, they would have suffocated.
Wow, so that's how bad they are. So
Yeah.
is there a fairly easy way to tell which is which, or do you need a beekeeper to really know which is
Well, I would say you need someone experienced.
okay?
Because I was called to Vintage Salon on North Canal in Carlsbad early this year. I think it was May. And just looking at them, they were going up under the house through an access to the underneath the house.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at them, I said, oh, they look pretty good. But once I got in there, they were definitely Africanized. And I just washed my bee suit, and I forgot to, I like the pith helmet, I forgot to tape it up with duct tape. And while I'm leaning over, pulling out the comb and the bees, they got into my helmet.
Oh, no.
It was miserable. I had to go to emergency care and get a Benadryl shot because I got about 20 stings on my face.
Oh.
Yeah, getting bees inside your head net is not good.
No, because your first thought is to probably take it off, and that would be even worse because you get all the rest of the bees that are there.
Yeah, you got to get out of there, and you don't run. You walk away as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
The owner was there watching, and they started getting after him, and I said, just walk away
Yeah.
calmly and don't be afraid. They can tell when you're afraid, and they can seek out your CO2 given off by your skin. They're pretty amazing.
So what do you do with do you trap Africanized bees or do you trap the European bees? What do you prefer to do as a beekeeper?
As a beekeeper, I buy my queens from up north or somewhere like, I like bee weaver queens from the Houston area of Texas. They're verified hygienic bees in that they will bite at varroa mites. And varroa mites are bee parasites that will eventually kill your European hives.
Mm-hmm.
But that's off topic. You got to keep up your European queens because when a virgin queen goes to mate, she'll leave the hive or the swarm and go to mate. They can go up into the air as high as 500 feet, and there will be a cloud of drones waiting on her. They can smell the pheromone of the queen bee that's ready to mate. Now, she will mate with as many drones as possible, and the drone will insert its penis into the queen, and it'll break off, and the drone will fall to the earth. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
She can mate with as many as 10 drones, and then she returns to the hive or the colony in a tree cavity, and that's the only time she'll mate for the rest of her life. Now, Africanized bees, killer bees, are stronger and faster flyers than European drones, and they will outperform them every time.
Mm-hmm.
If she encounters a killer bee drone swarm up in the air when she goes to mate, her descendants are going to be Africans.
Right.
And they didn't experiment with Africanized bees. They crossed them. They bred them artificially with European bees for over 40 generations, and still the Africanized trait, the DNA, was extremely aggressive.
Wow. So again, if someone has bees and they call a beekeeper, what do you do with the Africanized queen when you get that captured? Do you destroy
Well,
it, or
2
do you?
weeks ago, I responded to uh, uh, an apartment senior complex, and they contracted with me to remove their Africanized swarm, and it was massive. I took 2 whole boxes of Africanized bees down to Loving, where there's generally nothing but Africanized bees. And you can't buy a European queen and requeen them this late in the year. So I hived them in a beehive down there where they were away from human habitation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm working with Centurion Pipeline. It's their ESA project. Is they're raising good bees, and they've been really helpful.
Okay.
I was going to keep them until I could requeen that in spring, but I did not get the queen, so I just finished my job. I had almost 10 pounds of dead bees that I pulled out of there. I cleaned all the comb out of there. You know, the first day I spent 6.5 hours in my bee suit, sweating from head to toe. I mean, climbing up on a 10-foot ladder with my reciprocating saw, just pulling out bees. And you can smoke them for so much, but after a while it becomes a moot point. You know, you just gotta
dig in there.
Attack them back.
Yeah, get them out. Well, Cristina, it's a great story. I think we need to have you on again from time to time. But if if you want people to get a hold of you, like if they've got a beehive that needs to be removed or whatever, what's the preferred way for folks to get a hold of you?
Well, unfortunately, I'm a senior citizen. I don't have a smartphone. I got a landline. If you leave a message, I will respond as soon as possible. I'll take care of your problem. And if it's a cutout, I may charge a small fee, but I'm strictly nonprofit, and I'm doing this for the good of my people, you know, Eddy County people. My number is 575-885-0258.
Cristina, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it today, and good luck with you taking care of the bees, okay?
Thank you, Gene.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Be safe.
I like it. All right. Thank you very much. Cristina Mann, and we've got the number here in case you didn't get to it. All right. Let's take a break, open up the Zoom.